We are in South Bend, Indiana. It is football season, and I've got my shirt on to support the Fighting Irish. So clearly, we are here because we're heading to the tire rack track. A lot of people don't realize that one of the most inexpensive and effective modifications you can make to your car is to simply change the tires. So the plan was to use an advanced testing facility to experience firsthand the difference in the car's performance when outfitted with 17-inch stock tires and wheels versus 18-inch performance tires and wheels. My car of choice, the 2013 Subaru BRZ. So the first thing I needed to do was familiarize myself with the track and with the autocross course. And usually I do so on foot. But at the tire rack facility, they do things a little differently. Now the really cool thing about this test track is that they've created a course that includes things like a slalom, a skid pad, and a 180-degree turn, so you can really measure a vehicle's steering response, its handling, its braking, and its cornering capabilities. After amusing myself for a while on that awesome little bike, I really dug that dangerous little thing. Then it was time to get in the BRZ. I've actually had a decent amount of seat time in the BRZ, and that's why I chose it. But if you haven't yet had the pleasure, you're missing out. It's got a 6-speed manual transmission and a naturally aspirated 2-liter 4-cylinder engine that produces 200 horsepower and 151 pound-feet of torque. Now, while those numbers might sound low, the BRZ is an example of a car that raises your heart rate not with its overwhelming horsepower, but with its thoughtful engineering. It's its balance and its handling that will really steal your heart. And getting the chance to spend a few hours on the track with it gave me time to notice some really particular things about the way it behaves. There are a lot of aspects of this car's construction that directly impact the way its 17-inch stock summer tires actually handle on the road. First, it's got a really low center of gravity. In fact, at 18 inches, it's one of the lowest centers of gravity of any production car in the world. And it's supremely lightweight thanks to a whole lot of high-strength steel and its aluminum hood. And those features really impact the handling and the steering, both of which are just fantastic. The BRZ is just eager to please. Every turn-in is immediate, and it really inspires confidence. It's just got this bright and spirited personality that just smothers you in fun. So it was really the course and not the car that I had to learn and become comfortable with. After spending some time out there, attacking corners in different ways, becoming familiar with my hard braking zones, I knew that my runs were getting smoother and that my lap times were getting faster. And I was ready to up the game and switch out those tires. But I also came here for a reason. At MotorTrend, we rent tracks every week, and I could have easily modified the BRZ in California. But what brought me all the way out to Indiana was not the tire rack testing facility, but actually all the expertise that they have under one roof. So before modifying the BRZ, I wanted to go in, tour the facility, talk with the experts, and learn about all of the variables that impact tire performance and that would therefore inform my tire selection. Looking around from the parking lot, I was pretty sure that everyone who works here was in the enthusiast camp, but I still wanted to hear it from the source.
Well, I'll tell you, it validates the fact that we're enthusiasts. We have a test track, and as a lot of people say, that test track's in our backyard, but no, we're enthusiasts. It's in our front yard.
Yeah.
You walk out the front door, there's the test track.
I want to put some performance tires on there, and then head back out there and really kind of feel what's going on.
We'll definitely customize that vehicle for your taste through the tires, and we'll make it look a little nicer with some wheels too.
Okay, all right. So when most people think about the health of their tire, for them it basically equates to tread, and clearly the wear on the tread is important. So let's take a look at that and talk about some of the intricacies of the tread, where it should be. When are we in the danger zone?
Well, starting out with a tire that's nearly new, like this one, this has about 100 miles on it.
Okay.
And as you can see, the tread is still very deep. There's a lot of visible tread. This is what you would see when you walk up to the car with tires that you just bought from the tire store, from Tire Rack.
Now, how many miles have we been driving on this one?
Well, this tire is about 75% worn now.
Okay.
And this is the same tires we just looked at, but you can see there's a noticeable change in the tread pattern. It's much shallower if you look at the grooves.
Yeah.
There's not a lot of place for the water to go or the snow to go if you have to drive in the wintertime with this all-season tire. So stopping distances are going to take longer. Getting started in the rain or in the snow is going to take longer. You're not going to have as much traction. There's just a natural progression. As the tire wears down, the grip begins to go away.
Now show me something really bad.
Well, this is an example of the same tire now down at the bare minimum, at 2:30 seconds.
Now at service shops, there's this whole 3,000 mile oil change myth, right? Because pretty much unless your car was made before 1980, you don't need an oil change at 3,000 miles. But they also try to get consumers to rotate the tires every time they get an oil change. Should we be doing that every time, or should we be judging for ourselves when it's time to switch the placement?
Well, you know, we humans are not very good at judging slow, subtle change, and tires change and wear very, very slowly. Early in the tire's life, it's a very good idea to rotate your tires every 3,000 to 4,000 miles.
Okay.
Later in the tire's life, you know, by the second or third year, every 6,000 to 8,000 miles. Towards the end of your tire's life, if it's a longer wearing tire, then something like every 8 to 10 or 12,000 miles. It doesn't need rotation as often as it gets more and more worn down. Over here is what you'll find typically as original equipment on most German luxury cars, Japanese luxury cars, performance cars. It's a dedicated summer tire or a 3-season tire. A dedicated summer tire will absolutely provide the best dry and the best wet traction of any of the tires you'll have on your car. And that's a surprise to a lot of people. They think they need an all-season tire to get good wet traction. It may be okay in the wet, but a dedicated summer tire is actually going to be better in the wet because it's not compromised to try and also provide some traction below freezing in the snow or on the ice.
Okay, that's interesting.
A typical all-season tire has a more broken up tread pattern to try and provide some traction in the snow and on the ice. Dedicated winter tire will provide you significantly better traction in the snow and on the ice than even the best all-season tire can do.
While inside the facility, I got an awesome education, and Woody and I had some fun. Oh, that was awesome. Once we knew what we needed, it was time to put on the new shoes. The goal was to maximize the tire upgrade, and to do that, we had to make a wheel change too. But Subaru gave us a great platform with enough room in the wheel wells to accommodate the plus-size tire upgrade. The 18-inch tire we chose is over 1 inch wider than the stock size, putting down a wider contact patch for improved cornering and handling. The sidewall height is shorter thanks to the larger wheel diameter, and that also helps improve the responsiveness. Once I was back on the track, almost immediately, the magnitude of the modification was evident. The BRZ handled so differently. I had way better cornering power in the slalom. There's a huge difference, huge difference. And I could tell that I was faster in the sweeper. And I had a little bit more room for error. I could actually get away with slightly misjudging my braking zones without losing a lot of time.
So now you're feeling much quicker responsiveness to the slalom. You're getting through without effort. We're getting away with some late braking moves, just like that one, that you know, with the other tires we just wouldn't have made. They're fine, but they don't certainly utilize all of the capability of this car.
Looking at the graph data, in addition to being faster everywhere, the 18-inch package just responds more quickly overall. It's most noticeable in the slalom section of the graph, as this sine wave of lateral acceleration that weaves on either side of the center line is sharper at the beginning, and it gets to its peak sooner. All in all, with the performance tires and wheels, I shaved 1.18 seconds off my best time in the stock car, resulting in a 3.5% improvement.
That's it.
Getting smoother. And while that might not sound like a dramatic number, in races that are decided by hundredths of a second, this is huge. Not to mention that increased responsiveness can be the difference between avoiding a collision or causing one. Overall, it was just a fantastic experience. The people could not have been cooler, and I came away with so much that day. If you could only make one modification to your vehicle, I can now confidently say what you should do: change the tires and the wheels. Trust me. Woody!